I think we're live. I think that means we're live. Let's see what this is doing up here. Testing, testing, testing. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, hey, whoa there, whoa there, whoa there, whoa there. Getting a little carried away now. Hey everybody. Hey everybody. I see a Mr. Luggage on here. Mr. Low, Mr. G, Mr. Rules, Mr. Micus, Mr. Hartzell. Thank you so much for joining today's y'all. Few crazy days this week at the Casa Pulp Alley. Yes, indeed. We got to, Bessy and I went to the hospital on Monday morning. Yeah, big time. Shared at least a couple pictures out there as we have a new addition to the Pulp Alley family. Is this thing working okay? Yeah, I think so. Smartass Podcast is on here. Chris, thank you so much. I assume that's Chris, possibly Eli as well. Simon Morley is on here. Man named Marino. So we added a new baby to the family on it was Monday 9/12. Her name is June. She weighed 6 pounds 11 ounces, and she was 19 inches long. And she is adorable. I was really hoping that we would do like a little family thing tonight, but it's just too soon. Bessy is recovering, and babies baby is baby still right now, barely opening its eyes a little bit here and there, crying here and there. It's not like she does much yet. But then, so hopefully maybe Sunday or maybe next week. Also, it's really cold outside, and I didn't want to have to drag everybody over here through the cold. So, but yeah, pretty darn exciting stuff. Pretty exciting stuff. Hopefully, Bessy will remember to jump on here tonight. Maybe not. She's got her hands full with baby June and Max as well. So it's, but we do have a whole lot of stuff to go over tonight. Let me double check my time. I think I still have about a minute and a half. 1 minute is the official time. 1 minute till we go live. So we have a whole bunch of stuff to go over tonight, a whole bunch of stuff. And I need your help with some questions. So I do have a few things I'd like to ask you guys about, but then I also have, nearly 2 pages of rules questions. And I think these are worth going over and worth listening to because oftentimes, I love getting rules questions because it gives us an opportunity. A lot of times when I get a rules question, I will go back and look in the book and I will, try to verify, is that something that I really left that open-ended, because sometimes it gives me an idea, maybe I should have reworded that a little bit different. Oftentimes it's, folks, when we read through rules, we don't catch everything. I know that as a longtime gamer myself. There's plenty of times that I've read through a set of rules and then I sat down to play it and I go, oh, there's something that I probably should have done differently. And, I go back and I check the rules and it was something I could have done a little bit different. So lots of cool questions. It's also exciting because it means folks are out there playing and that's thrilling as well. When the level of questions that we get is really phenomenal. So I guess it's the 8 o'clock hour and here we go. Hey everybody, this is Dave here at Pulp Alley and we are live on a Thursday night. we're going to go through a bunch of really cool Q&A, some rules questions, some from some new players, some from some solo players, some from some long-time players. So this is a really good video to watch and kind of pay attention to these rules questions as we talk about them, because oftentimes, when I get one of these rules questions in, it doesn't just help that player, but sometimes it helps a bunch of other players as well. Michael Greenhill is on here tonight. Thank you so much for being on here, Michael. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I do have a couple questions for y'all. And one also a big notification that I have to talk with you guys about as well. So let's do the bad news first. I've mentioned it several times over the last several months that the prices on our cards are going to go up. And we've pretty much reached the end of the rope. There's nothing for us to do now but to go ahead and raise the prices on our cards. So probably before the end of this week, we will have to go in and add an extra 25 cents, 50 cents, a dollar, $2. It just depends on what the pack of cards is. Honestly, I could see our starter decks probably going up by $5 at least. And unfortunately, that's just the reality of what it's costing us to print the darn things. Cards were always one of our lowest margin items. We really didn't make a lot on them, but I always felt like I needed to try and keep my price as low as I could. And now we've just reached the position that we simply have to raise the prices on the cards or stop selling them. So that's where we're at. So card prices will definitely be going up before the end of this week. That gives you a week. We're out of stock on a lot of stuff. So the stuff, even if you do order it now and it's still at the low price on the store, you will still get it at the price that you order it at. But as I go through the store over the next few days, we will, be marking everything up as far as the cards are concerned. So we have here, Mr. Alan Shakes is on here. Thank you so much for your congratulations, Alan. I appreciate that. Very good. Mr. Luggage. Mr. Luggage says understandable. Yes, indeed, it is. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like the paper costs and things like that. It's just crazy. Even the book printers. So far, I've avoided, having to raise the prices on the books. But gosh, it's just crazy in the world right now. So, hey guys, if you haven't already, please take a moment and click that like button. We've got about 16 folks on here right now, and we've got 9 likes. I'd love to see that number a little closer together. Please take a moment right now and make sure you click that like button for us. It is important to us. Now, the next important thing that I wanted to talk with y'all about is our next campaign. And I hope y'all have been enjoying this kind of Victorian sci-fi thing that we've cobbled together and have been playing on Sundays. Star of Venus is this kind of Victorian sci-fi setting, but it's actually based on the scenarios that we produced in 2021. So the leagues are basically Pulp Alley leagues. Victorian sci-fi, steampunk, whatever you want to call it, is square in Pulp Alley's alley. So there's not a lot that you have to do to make that sort of thing work. In all of those sorts of things, and I think this is interesting, always remember this when you're designing characters for Pulp Alley. It all comes down to the abilities that you select. That's, if you want to design a vampire, if you want to design a zombie, if you want to, create this character or that character, it always just comes down to picking out the abilities that make sense for that character. We never say what the source of that ability is. So even an ability like marksman could be a laser targeting eye, laser eye, or something like that. It could be some sort of mutation in a post-apocalyptic world. It could be a spell for some sort of runic tattoo that you have. It could be an enchanted bow. It could just be a really well-made, master-crafted pistole. So every single ability in there fits your character the way you want it to be. So remember that. I want to get into some of the questions. The next campaign is what I was really trying to get at, though, is what do you guys want to do next? The Victorian sci-fi thing, I never really actually intended to do it this long. So maybe we're done with it. I haven't actually had time to even think about Sunday. So I don't even know what we're doing, Michael. I'm playing with Michael Greenhill on Sunday. I don't know what the scenario is. I don't know what the setting is. Chances are we will probably do another Star of Venus scenario. But do you guys want to do, like, maybe start one of the campaign books? Do we want to just pull out Tomb of the Serpent, start at scenario 1 and just go through the whole darn book? Do we want to pull out Vice Alley and do that? So you guys give me some ideas. Do you want to do, I recently somebody was talking about they wanted to see some World War II. That would be a lot of fun. I would love to do some World War II. Somebody was talking about doing Celts and either Imperial or Republic era Romans. That would be a lot of fun too. Would that be fun? What about Dark Ages? So there's a lot of stuff in there that we could have some fun with. Do we want to do sci-fi? So let me know. Let me know, and I'll try to find some figures to play some games on. So I need some. If you're watching this later, or even if you're watching it right now, I would love for you to come back and add a comment down below in the comments section that says, what sort of setting you would like us to do on Sundays. It matters to us that we play something that's fun for you guys, because it's all fun for me. I love it. I could do a Western. There's just like so much. I could do samurai. I mean, I just love gaming. So let me know what kind of setting you would like to see. Somebody had a question about gangs. Gangs behave as individual figures. Can a gang do the following? Can a gang dodge? Can a gang block to cancel successes? Can a gang recover lost figures? No, to most of that normally. So yes. Oh, I'm going to start all over. Yes, they can dodge. Normally, they would roll 1d6 to dodge with. Yes, they can block just as normal. So when they roll their attack dice and the enemy rolls theirs, oftentimes what you're going to want to look at is trying to make sure your gang does not get wiped out. So you want to do some blocking with your gang. Yes, you could certainly block. No, you do not normally recover lost figures. Gangs do not normally roll a recovery check. And I say normally, that's the important word in there, because there is an ability. If you go through the different abilities for characters, you can find one in there that will allow your gangs to try to recover some of their models. Let's see what folks have to say. Hey, Sean Turpin's on here. James Bond 007. That would be a lot of fun. We've done some of that, and I love doing Solomon Kane from Bry G. I love that. Samurai Western. Flash Gordon. Some retro sci-fi would be a lot of fun. I really like the figures that Hydra Miniatures does. Have some really cool stuff, and I've got some of their retro sci-fi stuff. Let's see what else is up here. Put some ideas up there. Lovecraft horror for Chris. Greco-Roman mythology for Eli. Very cool. Dunwich horror. Very cool. Horror Western, very cool. Seven Samurai game, yes. Michael Greenhill, yes. Seven Samurai Bride G says Victorian horror from D.W. Lowe. Weird Western from Simon Morley, very cool. Stu, Samurai Western. Scott, World War II would be good. Let's see. Mr. Luggage says, how about one of the campaign books modified to work for W? I don't have my glasses on. Is that WW1 or WW2? Oh, I can't see it. You guys can see it though, you know. Okay, it's WW2. Okay. I got to get to these questions or I'm not going to get them all done. Fighting. Can a figure move into contact, initiate a brawl, and then choose to dodge? And absolutely. That was one of those things that we really wanted to have happen in Pulp Alley. And what does that represent? That represents you going in to fight somebody. And we've used that. We've actually used that tactic in Pulp Alley games. It represents you moving in to engage somebody, but you're not actually trying to cause harm. What you're really trying to do is make sure you don't get hurt while trying to cause a little bit of distraction for the other guy, right? This is a tactic. And if you go back and you look at things like even the way a pack of hyenas tries to take down a lion, right? They come in and they're not really trying to cause damage. What they're really doing is trying to wear that lion down. Same thing crosses over to Pulp Alley, and there is no special rule for it. It's simply part of the way the game can work. Very, very cool. So yes, you can move in and engage a character and then choose to dodge. And if you're successful on your dodge and they don't even get any hits to you, you could just go ahead and back up and even move away from them, or you could remain engaged with them. Either way, very clever. I'm not saying that you should do it a lot because it's a fairly dangerous thing to do, just to go up and mess with somebody, because once in a while they're going to get a lucky hit in and drop you into the dust. And then, of course, the same thing goes for shooting. Can you initiate a shooting attack at someone and then choose to dodge, choose to use your dodge skill? And of course you can. And what would that represent? That would represent, again, your choice to engage that enemy position, but you're not actually trying to cause damage. What you're trying to do is minimize their combat effectiveness. Boys and girls, we call that covering fire. There's no special rule for covering fire in Pulp Alley because it's part of the game. It's there. If you choose to use it, you could choose to shoot over there at that enemy position, that enemy that's over there, and you could choose to use the dodge. What that represents is you're not actually trying to cause damage to them. You're just trying to fire for effect and to get them to put their heads down and give them something else to think about. In other words, giving them a -1 on their multiple fights penalty. So yes, those are things that you can actually do in Pulp Alley, and we do them. This one asks about when both characters choose to dodge. Both characters, if both characters choose to dodge, the question is, one, does it count as a fight? Well, of course it does, because it's resolved as a fight. Somebody started a fight there. Even if it was started automatically, a fight had to be started. So a fight starts, it is resolved by both characters choosing to dodge. The other part of the question was, is there any reason to roll dice? Absolutely not. If all of the parties in that fight, and if there were multiples or whatever, if everybody chooses to dodge, then there's no dice to be rolled, and um, then the active character first has the option to disengage and move 1 inch away, whether or not they choose to do so. Then the defender has the option to move 1 inch away if they want to. So the characters could end up either 1 inch away or 2 inches away. Does it count as a fight? Absolutely. And the part of that is that, yes, a fight had to start. And the other part is that well, they're still facing off against each other. You got an enemy just 5 feet away or so that could come at you at any moment. They're definitely a distraction, and you're definitely focused on them. So you got to be ready for them, right? So it still affects your multiple fights penalty. Let's see. Scroll down and see what else I got going on. Victorian monster hunters would be cool. Yes. Dracula, werewolves, Victorian horror, very cool. Pinned down, yes. So a hockey game fight. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I'm sure you do. So I'm kind of slow sometimes. Yeah. Recovery. A figures dice. When you are injured, your health dice goes down, and that puts a cap on your skills. So if you recover and your health goes back up, then the cap is now whatever your health is. So yes, the question was, once your skills go down, do they stay down or do they go back up if you recover? Yes, and because it is tied to your health. That is the dice that is creating that cap. If you're injured, you cannot roll a dice greater than your health. So when your health goes down, your skills are capped at that D8 now. So if you pass that recovery and you go back up to a D10 and you're no longer injured, then your skills are no longer affected. So that is your answer, sir. Summon ability. Can I place X minions? And you know what? I was thinking about this. I got just about 10 minutes to go here. So be sure and let me know what you want to do for the next campaign. Leave a comment, not just in the chat, and that's helpful, but honestly, the chat, sometimes comments get lost in the chat for whatever reason. So it's much better to come back to this video later and make sure you put it into the comments. That would be a big help to us, so we know what to do. Let's see. When you use the summon ability and place X minions on the table, do they stay in play for the rest of the game, or until they are knocked out, or are they only there for the turn? Once a character comes into play, it will normally remain in play as normal. So it does not go away at the end of the turn. Summoned characters, once they're on the table, will go out of play as normal. So if they're KO'd, then they go out of play. Otherwise, they stay in play. Another part of that question was, is there a limit to the number of characters that I can summon? And no, you can summon as many as your heart's content. Summon is one of those skills that I think people look at and they go, "Oh, that's really cool," and it is. It's a cool ability. The thing to remember, is that you're basically using your leader level character to just sit there and summon over and over again. And I've played enough and play tested this enough and seen it happen enough that it really doesn't matter how many of these little punks you summon. The other side is going to go through those guys, and then they're going to be on top of you. If that's really what they're going after, or they just go after other stuff. Tying up your best character to simply spew out tiny little peons that can easily get KO'd it's not necessarily the greatest idea. Not saying you shouldn't do it. It's fun and it can be cool. Just don't think that it's all powerful. It's well balanced in the game. My character drew an all clear card for the solo deck. Does this mean that he doesn't have to roll for the plot point? No, the all clear card only affects perils. So it affects all perils that character encounters that turn. But peril is a very specific thing. Plot points are a very specific thing. They are not the same thing. So perils are perils. Plot points are plot points. Page 2. If you guys have any questions, be sure and leave them in the comments. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all the likes that you guys have clicked on there. That means a lot to us. So definitely appreciate it. And thank you so much for joining. I'm sorry that Bessy couldn't be here tonight, and I think y'all understand why. I really wanted y'all to get a chance to see June and Max and Bessy all together, but soon, I promise. Okay. New player question: are the rules for Vice Alley included in the second edition rule book? And about this first 7 pages are included in, and that's things like bystanders and associates, and now I can't remember off the top of my head, but things that are part of the game, in general, are in the second edition rulebook. Things that are specific to the Vice Alley campaign, like the locations and the scenarios and the rules for that campaign, are only in the Vice Alley book. So still a great book to get. And I definitely hope to eventually do a second edition version of that book. But, I'm kind of slow at times. DW Low. Campaign with Kolchak the Night Stalker. Oh, yes. That would be fun. Ryan Scott. Can you buy a download version of China Station Sim to Perilous Island? I think so, Ryan. If it's not, yeah, I'm almost 100% sure there's a downloadable version of China Station on the store right now. If there's not, let me know, because there should be. So, someone was asking about these 2 statements. Trip me up. I can't perform an action if I move over 6 inches, but there is a shoot penalty for moving over 6 inches. How can that be? And that is because in Pulp Alley, we do not call everything an action. I know there are games out there that do that, and that's unfortunate. You have a move action, and you have a fight action, and you have an attack action, and you have other actions. So in Pulp Alley, moving is moving. So we don't call moving an action. Moving is moving. Fighting is fighting. And everything else pretty much does fall into that action category. So it's something that takes a little more time and or concentration than, a tussle. It's things like trying to convince a guard to let you in, the gate. It's things like searching an area for a missing clue. Those are actions. They're intended to be things that take a little more time than just a tussle or running, So we separate those out. That question does come up once in a while. So I don't know what game it is. It doesn't really matter to me. But very early on, that was the way that we had decided to do that, to define actions as very specific things and not everything. Let's see. Impaired and hindered conditions required. So his question is kind of about using them in solo play. And I guess I would just first I would say that you are when you're playing solo, you should really pick abilities and things that make sense for solo play. So, you don't have to just and that makes means, if you want to switch things up a little bit, then do it. You're playing solo. So it's okay, it's okay to just swap things out that makes sense. Um but as far as the discarding, there's the rule in there. It's at the bottom of the solo rules, and it says that to power a discard ability, you just have to discard one of the cards that are attached to one of your characters. Doesn't matter if it's a good card or a bad card or who it's attached to. So you can use discard abilities, but honestly, for things that do hindering and impair, maybe just take something else if you're playing solo. Um, in solo mode, is there examples of when I should activate the bot league first? And I always believe in being your own worst enemy. So when you play solo, you're not getting anything out of it if you just let your side win. So you should try to test how tough your league is and to give them the hardest situation to get through. So you're not going to necessarily know this when you're first starting out, but I very much look at the table and assess the situation and I say, you know what, right now, I think it's going to be harder on my league if I make my league go first. Or I could look at the table and say, I think it would be harder on my league if I make the enemy go first. So almost every single turn before I make that decision, I look at the table and look at what the current situation is. And you'll get there when you look at the table one of these times and you go, oh, I sure want to go first this turn. And that's the turn that you should make the enemy go first. Make it as hard on your league as you can, because that's the only test of the solo game is can you survive when the odds are stacked against you. That's what's fun about the solo games, and just trying to make it a struggle for the good guys. um Now I've seen folks that do that decision in different ways. I've seen folks that just simply roll a dice every turn and say, okay, if I roll a 1, 2, or 3, the bad guys go first. If I roll a 4, 5, or 6, my league goes first. And if that's how you want to decide, then that's cool, man. Right? If that's how you decide, then that's how you decide. It's not a big deal. I've seen folks that they had a more elaborate way of doing it, and they would say, "Well, I activate whichever league is farthest away from a plot point." So that's who they would activate first to kind of give them an opportunity to try and catch up or thwart the enemy from getting a plot point or something like that. So I don't believe in making it that complicated. I would much rather just go turn to turn and go, you know what? This turn I'm going to make them go first. This turn I'm going to go first based on the situation on the table that turn. All right. DW Low says, excuse me guys. Yay for Kolchak. Night Stalker ideal. Yes. Alan Shakes likes the Night Stalker idea. I agree, David Lowe. Let's see. DW Lowe says all of these cool ideas for next campaign. I just love watching the Sunday games and playing Pulp Alley. Any you choose will be awesome. Thank you guys so much. I have some colonials. I have like some characters from like this, early American colonial period. French and Indian War sort of stuff. That would be a lot of fun as well. Now I don't have any of those painted yet though, so I might have to try and convince Bessy to do some painting for me. And that's all the time we have for today. Everybody, thank you guys so much for jumping on here with me tonight. I really do appreciate it. We will see you when? On Sunday? No, there's going to be a video on Friday. Don't miss the Friday setup video because I have no idea what it's going to be. And we will see you then. Cue the music. Wake up the orchestra. Dun 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 dun. Bye, everybody.